Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirklin.
Powerful and provocative. Prophetic and practical.
Intellectual stew.
Informative and inspirational. How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
Intellectual stew.
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
Intellectual stew with James Kirklin.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's another night. It's another opportunity. Hey, it's another show of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirklin. I am super excited to be on tonight. I'm here, super excited to be here tonight. And I got my children with me. I got Trey with me. I got Kennedy with me. And I'm excited. I want to thank Jay Gerard. Put it up like Kennedy so we can try to put it back further so we can get us all on here. But Jay Gerard, I want to thank him. He came on last week and we had a good conversation about dating after divorce. And we're going to continue that conversation again on next week. I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to take a pit stop. I wanted to go in another direction tonight. I wanted to bring my babies on with me. I got Trey. Well, he's a grown man now, so I can't call him a baby. And Kennedy's a grown woman, too. So I can't say hi, Trey.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Hey, you got to talk in the microphone so they can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you say hi to them again one more time.
How y'all doing? Yeah.
All right, Kennedy, you're back again. We let you off for a couple of weeks because we got on some content that you really probably didn't need to be talking about. So but we're happy to have you back tonight. Say hello, Kennedy.
Hello.
All right, these are my babies. These are my older two. I got Trey. He is soon to be 23. He recently graduated, last year graduated with his undergraduate degree, and he's, clap. Oh, that crowd noise, I gotta get some crowd noise. Then we also have, and he also is working on his master's. How many classes are you short of your master's?
3 classes and 1 internship away.
3 classes and 1 internship away. Just for giggles and what they call it, something and giggles. What's that GPA?
Well, in grad school, a 4.0.
A 4.0, all A's. Wow, man, that's my dude. I'm proud of you. And I got my middle child here. Kennedy is just completed her freshman year at University of Georgia. Say hi. Come on, we're gonna clap for her again. She's on the Zell Miller Scholarship there. What was that GPA after that first year?
3.9. And
I just believe that both of you all are both on the path to better. Would you agree?
I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay. Because we y'all have started this thing on the path of life to go to making your marks in history. You know, because we know. Your mom and I, when we raised y'all, the Bible says train up a child and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just of the opinion that training ought to lead to trusting. Mm-hmm. And so, at a certain point, I learned even in this pilgrimage of parenting, that parenting turned to counseling. I mean, it wasn't a situation where I wanted to. Y'all have always heard me say that I don't want to raise robots because if I raise a robot, then I'm programming you. I'm telling you what to think, how to think, all those types of things. I never really wanted to do that with you all. And Kennedy, I remember one time you wrote a little essay or something, and I remember in the essay you said, my dad always says that I'm a thinker. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And Trey has always talked about, how we make you think. And that's something that I've always tried to hold true to. I've tried to always challenge you all to be good thinkers, So you're on the path to better. Trey, you're in grad school, almost finished. Kennedy, you got 2 or 3 more years of undergraduate. And I want to let y'all know tonight that I'm proud of you all, okay? All right. So tonight we have, y'all have seen us. We've been, that's good right there. We've been talking about this hashtag on the path to better. That's our hashtag. And what I'm trying to do, or what my desire is to create a community of people who will really examine where they are right now, presently, no matter where it is, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, and then ascribe to move from where you are to a better place. And that's the challenge. That's what I mean, because it's all. I mean, we're good, man. I know a lot of us. If you ain't sick, you ain't trying to go to the doctor, right? If you don't need a haircut, you ain't going. If you ain't got a cavity, you're not trying to go to get a tooth pulled. But I've always been under the impression that the biggest room in any house is the room for improvement. Would you all agree with that? And so I think that we should always seek to improve. So we're on the path to better, but as we're on the path to better, the question has to be raised tonight: what does better look like? So Trey, I'm gonna ask you first, through your 22, soon to be 23-year-old eyes, in your opinion, by your estimation, what does better look like to you?
That does make me think. Even in knowing what the question will be, it still makes me think, honestly. I think knowing your past experiences makes you know what better looks like, because you know what you want to come from and go to, strive towards.
Okay, so you know what you come from and what you strive towards. Now, let's unpack that a little bit. So what would coming from look like to make you want to do better in the future? What does coming from something in the past look like if it's making you ascribe or desire to move to a better place?
Well, if you know where you've been,
Mm-hmm.
and you know where you want to be, you know there's levels to it.
Okay.
So you know that when you've been at one spot, you know that, okay, I've X'd this off. Now it's time to work this hard to get where I need to be.
Talk about the room for improvement.
A room for
The
improvement.
room, the biggest room, and I'm going to say that several times throughout the course of this show. The biggest room in any house is the room for improvement. Okay, Kennedy, by the same question for you. By your estimation, what does better look like?
I think better looks like being in a mental space, emotional space, physical space where you're happy, and it's a place that you're maneuvering into daily, because I do believe that you can grow daily. You can also regress at times. It's not going to be like straight shot to the top, but you can grow as long as you have the intention to grow.
And I will say, I think even if you're comfortable, you can still strive for better.
Of course.
Because being comfortable and saying I'm straight where I'm at, that's just being complacent, honestly. You can do better than you've been.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless you don't know.
Well, yeah,
Some people don't know.
Unless you don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's a whole nother point. And that's the question. How do you do better if you don't know what better looks like, right? And you just brought up an interesting point. You could be doing good, but you should still ascribe to do better. I mean, think about it. To me, a tree is the only thing that dies standing straight up, right? I mean, a tree can reach full capacity and have leaves, have bark, have everything going on, provide shade, got bugs, all those things. But a tree it's standing straight up, right? And even when the tree dies, you don't know it's dead. Why? Because it's still standing. The birds still show up and live in the tree. The bugs still come and feed off of the tree. But at a certain point, it falls, right? But we as human beings, like you said, even where you are, you should still ascribe to be better. Now, let's set a good foundation or a definition of what better is. In its adjective form, the definition of better is of a more excellent or effective type or quality. Okay, it's a more excellent or effective type or quality. In its verb state, in its action state, it means to improve on or surpass an existing or previous level or achievement, right? So that means if, say, you're in the 10th grade and you get all A's, right? You don't stop in the 10th grade, right? Because 12th grade is where you're trying to get to at least graduate from high school, right? And if I'm making all A's in the 10th grade, then I'm going to try to do that in the 11th grade, right? Because they teach you in the 9th grade that everything goes on your transcript that provides you for college, right? So you set this foundation. So if I made bad grades last year, then my goal is to make better grades next. Would y'all agree with that?
I say so.
Okay. What you think about that, Kennedy?
I agree with it.
You agree with that? Okay, cool. You can be. I don't mind. You can. When y'all at home, I can't stop y'all from talking. So, but yeah. So that's what better looks like through your eyes. So Trey, you said something else a minute ago. You said that you can be in a good position, and even though you're in a good position, it's nothing wrong with ascribing or desiring to do better? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think you can. I mean, see, since I'm an athlete, I can always relate it to sports.
Okay.
So I think about Kobe Bryant,
Okay.
how his drive was incomparable to anyone else. He could be on the top of the world, 5 rings.
Yeah.
But it's always, what can I do right now? Oh, we not taking a break. They won after we just won a championship. I'm back in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Because like that's just the inner dog within you. Because you know, like, okay, I can be 10 times better than what I just was.
Isn't that something? And and that's another interesting paradigm. You can be the best at what you do, but you can be the absolute best at what you do and still get better at it. Is that right? You can be the best. And let me say this right here, that being better or even being your best is relative. It's not a one size fits all thing, right? I mean, better for me is not necessarily better for you.
If I make $100 million in a year, Jeff Bezos will laugh at me.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
If a person makes $75,000 a year and that's his best, and then this other person makes $10 million a year, and that's their best, we both did good and we're doing better. And if I made 75 this year, but I make 100 next year, then what happens? I got better. My whole situation, I did something different that made me better, right? And so that's the thing. We got to understand, because what we do is we're so affected by the societal standards, right? Because we all get attracted to the symptoms of success. And the symptoms of success says I'm successful if I drive a certain car, if I got a certain amount of money in the bank, or if I dress a certain way, if I got a certain type of woman on my arm, or if I got a certain type of man, or if I've done these things a certain type of way, then that's what defines successful for me. That's not necessarily successful. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Y'all never met grandmama. Grandmama died before y'all were born. But my grandmama in Sherrill, Arkansas, by the name of Edna Earl Kirklin, she had a refrigerator in the house. She had a deep freezer in the house. She had a refrigerator on the back porch and a deep freezer on the back porch. And I promise you, there was never a time that neither of those was full. She had fruit trees around the house that she could make preserves with. She had a cornfield across the street. She had, all kind of vegetables around, all these types of things. And you can't tell me that my grandmother wasn't successful. And not only that, she raised 13 children, umpteen grandchildren, all of those things. But she might not have had a whole lot of money. But we've been taught now, and the love of money is the root to all evil. I don't care what nobody says. But we've been taught now that my success is defined by how much money I got in the bank.
I wouldn't say so.
You don't think so?
I see a lot of unhappy rich people. There's a lot of unhappy rich people.
And they're unhappy, but the person who's poor, what they want though? They want the money. They want
I feel like if people look at those people, it either brings them back into a cocoon and they're like feeling like a failure, or it drives them.
And that's a good point.
I think it's you got to get over that mental barrier of I want the money versus why I want the money.
Oh, you got to say more about that. That's good. Break that down.
I'm so past money.
Okay.
In my mind.
Okay.
I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what better looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm past making the money. In my mind, I'm already a millionaire.
Okay.
I've been a millionaire in my mind.
In your mind, you've already been a millionaire.
That's not even a problem. Like, I know that's gonna happen.
So let's talk about your process, okay? Because you graduated high school, went to junior college, finished, got your associates there, played baseball, went on to Jacksonville State.
Yeah. All right. So like you said, graduated high school, went to junior college, got a full ride to Jacksonville State, played baseball there, had professional baseball aspirations, tore both my labrums this season, sliding the bases. So I could either say, well, what do I do now? Or I can say, let's do something about it. Well, over the past, I'd say 1.5 to 2 years, I've kind of been working on a skill of my own that I'm finally starting to see true returns on.
Mm-hmm.
And follow a lot of people that do what I do.
Okay.
And I know what better looks like.
What do you do?
I trade foreign exchange, but I trade it the right way.
And let me put this caveat out there. He is not interested in training anybody. He don't want he's I'm the preacher, I'm the teacher. He don't want that role right there. His role, he wants to do what he's doing. So some of y'all be like, can you get your son? No, I'm not getting my son to teach you, okay? It is what it is. He learned it on his own. So yeah. And can I say a little bit more about that? Because while he was in school, he stayed on the president's list. He was pledging fraternity. He had a full baseball schedule, and he took the time to master how to trade Forex. He did these 4 things, and I'm just of the sneaky suspicion that the reason you do all of those things is because you want better for your life, right? Mm-hmm. You told me that when you were interested in playing professional baseball that you knew that they didn't make much money in the minor leagues, right? Yeah. So what was you trying to do?
Make some money while they weren't making money.
While they weren't making money. Mm-hmm. And so now you've picked up a skill that if you continued on the trajectory that you're on, that you'll be able to work how many hours a day?
I trade every day from 6:30 to 9.
So you work 2.5 hours a day and could potentially make 6 figures, 9 figures if you choose, 8 figures, whatever you want to do. Easy? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll be honest with y'all, let me put this out here. He's been doing this for a while, and he's my son, but I never ask him how much money. It's none of my business how much money he makes. He does what he wants to do. Like I told you, I don't raise robots. I trained him to trust him. If he comes to me and asks me for some advice, I share it. And most times, if he leads the conversation with, I was thinking, I won't even share my advice at that point. I just listen. And then when I get through, I say, all right, good. I talk to you later. Click. He be like, well, wait. No, ain't nothing to talk about. You said you were thinking. I'm not going to kill your vibe. I refuse to do that because I'm just not going to do that. So we're going to get to this next slide on the screen in just a moment. But let me share a couple of myths, MYTHSs, about better. There are some myths that say that in order to do better, you have to, number one, no, it's not on there. We're good. In order to be, myths about better, in order to be better, you have to either be the smartest. That's a myth. You have to be the most talented. That's a myth. Anybody can be better. You have to be the most educated. That's a myth. You have to be the prettiest. That's a myth. And you have to be the most fit. Do y'all believe that you have to do it? Everybody qualifies for better, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's a candidate for better. Anybody, if you are on enough avenue, if you've been living on enough avenue or barely get along boulevard or complacency street, wherever you've been living at, wherever your current address is in life, the fact of the matter is you can put better in the GPS. I like that. You can put better in the GPS and put an active plan together that will cause you to want to go towards better, right? So what we're gonna do tonight, guys, is we're gonna work our way through some things, and this might be one conversation of many during the course of this summer, but this is gonna be our first conversation tonight. And I like bringing my children on. I wish we got one more that we didn't bring tonight, but we'll get her on here at some point. But it's 10 things that require zero talent. And we're going to, in the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to work our way through that list of things, and we're going to talk about them. If you all want to call in and talk about some of those things and talk about maybe you are stuck on Barely Get Along Boulevard or Enough Avenue and you want better, but you don't have a plan to try to get towards better, and maybe I can help unlock some understanding or help you get to the next place, give us a call at 678 Kennedy. I want you to pin that number for me, 678-638-6626. Once again, if you're watching on my live and you want to go to Disco 100 Radio on YouTube, you can see us actually, all three of us actually in the studio, and you can actually see the backdrop and everything, and you're able to chat and interact with us on the screen, okay? So the first thing that requires zero talent, listen to what I said, things that require zero talent, the first thing is being on time. How much does it cost to be on? How hard is it to be on time?
It don't cost a dime.
Huh?
It don't cost a dime.
But how hard is it to be on time?
People make it hard.
People make it hard to be on time, man. I mean, and you know what? And and especially CP time. I ain't gonna say y'all know what CP time is, right? That's colored people time. I hate to throw our people out there, but I promise I'm gonna stop doing that. But we gotta stop it. We gotta stop it. We gotta stop showing up. I think who is it? Vince Lombardi said being on time is being how many minutes early?
15.
Being 15 minutes early. But we love, especially, and I don't work secular jobs no more where I got to clock in. But I can remember a time when I used to clock in, if I had to be there at 9 o'clock, rushing to the clock at 8:58, 8:59, barely getting there on time, rushing. I mean, that's not being punctual at all. And punctuality is this is the meme that I have on the screen. It says consistently being on time is the product of proper planning, personal discipline, and a respect for other people's time. Let me read that again. Consistently being on time is the product, and if y'all want to break in and interject, Trey and Kennedy, feel free. Consistently being on time is the product of proper planning, personal discipline, and a respect for other people's time. Here it is. Making a habit of being late demonstrates none of these things and is often a sign of patchy priorities and selfishness. Habitual lateness says, my time is more valuable than yours. Learn to be reliable and a person of integrity by adopting the discipline necessary to be on time. If you know you have to be somewhere at a certain time, if your job, this is it, if your job says that you have to be there at 9 o'clock, and let's just, y'all want to do a math problem with me? Let's do a math problem.
Sure.
Okay. If your job says you have to be there at 9 o'clock, okay, and you live 30 minutes from your job, right? That means you have to leave at least at what time?
8:30.
But if you leave at 8:30, you only gonna get there at 9.
Yeah.
So now you got to give yourself a cushion, right? So that means I got to leave at what time?
At least 8:15.
So at least 8:15. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I'm setting the GPS just to see how long it's gonna take to get to work. Because, and that's when I had a job. Like I said, I don't do all this stuff no more. But anyway, when I go anywhere, I set the GPS. I put the address in because the GPS. It's not so much that I don't know where I'm going. It's not so much that I need directions to where I'm going. But I'm using it for efficiency. Because once I put the address in the GPS, then what's gonna happen? It's gonna let me know if there are any wrecks. It's going to let me know if I need to go an alternate route. I mean, how many times have you gotten on the freeway without checking the GPS, and as soon as you get on the freeway, you hit a wall of traffic? And then the first thing you're like, oh, Lord, I got to be at work at 9 o'clock. It's only 8:30. How am I going to do it? Or, and I know this might sound familiar, you know you got to be at work at 9. You take it for granted because it's only 10 minutes away. So at 8:40, you walking around the house, doing other things, trying to get yourself together, and then next you know it's 8:52. And you rushing out the door. But according to this, making a habit of being late demonstrates none of these things and is often a sign of patchy priorities and selfishness. Why? When you've obligated yourself to be a part of an event, this is going to be a minute for the next one. When you have obligated yourself to be a part of something or anything, or you've made the commitment of being on time, it's your responsibility of being on time.
I agree. Yeah, I think people don't even think about how selfish it is to be late.
Because that's how you're perceived.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
100% perceived as being selfish. Walking up late, that's embarrassing to me. Because, like, people are standing there waiting for you. Everybody's just looking at you. I'm talking about in terms of, like, softball practices. People just looking at you, waiting on you. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, yeah. Trey, let me talk about that with you because you played baseball at a very high level.
yeah.
So what were some of the consequences of being late?
Well, my coach used to send people home if you that late.
Okay.
But sometimes you do physical punishment. We call it weight of responsibility.
Okay.
So for a whole practice, you're gonna be carrying around weights and running with broomsticks.
A weight of responsibility. I like that. So let's talk about because that coincides. So if you're on the path to better, and you know that you want to be better, and you have to make sure that you make deadlines. You have to make line because you said the weight of what? Responsibility.
Yeah.
Your responsibility to be on time. If you got to be at church at 11 o'clock, it irks me because I sit in the pulpit and I watch people walk in church.
45 minutes.
Church starts at 10:30, and people will walk in church at 11:45, 12 o'clock. But church started at 10:30 the same time every week. I'm gonna give it a purpose.
What if they just got off or something?
If they just got off, that's something that's
What if they had
different.
something to do before?
Yeah, but then we got multiple services.
That's true.
You know, it's always ways to do. I'm gonna give you an example. I remember a long time ago I was at the barbershop, and when I was at the barbershop, somebody say, ouch, I'm late every Sunday. But you know what you got to do. You ain't late for work every Sunday. I'm joking. But I remember one time somebody was talking about Creflo Dollar's church. And I don't know. I've never visited his church. None of that, but I'm going to defend preachers. Creflo Dollar, a big pastor, world changers down in College Park. Okay. The guy that had the people buy him a jet and wanted to ask me for the money. We ain't going to talk about it. I don't do that. But anyway, don't you say a word, Disco. But anyway, so this particular time I'm at the barbershop and this lady's talking about, they're talking about Creflo bad. I've been going to church at this church for all these years, and I've never got a seat on the main floor. I've never got a seat on the main floor. I got to sit in the balcony. He's been going to this church all this time, and I'm sitting there, and I'm getting my hair cut, and I'm really tired of the conversation, right? And because everybody loved to make anything about church and about preachers about me, so they kept on talking, right?
They're purposely keeping her on because they have her on a list.
Like they got her on the list not to let her in. So just go. I asked one question. Watch the question. Well, this is the question I asked. I said, "What time she get to church?" Because the church started at 10 o'clock, right? And you show up at 10:10. Ain't nobody holding no seat for you, sweetheart. And if you want a seat that bad in the sanctuary, and church started at 10 o'clock, look like to me you'd have showed up about 9:45, 9:35, got there early. But we don't do that because we're selfish. And she's selfish enough to think that somebody's going to hold a seat for her. And I'm complaining. I done went so far as to basically talk about her so bad, right? I mean, to talk about the church so bad that the reason the church is messed up because I can't get a seat on the floor. That ain't got nothing to do with you. It all has to do with you not being on time. If you are on time, they're not going to send you home, right? But what your coach do to you?
Greater responsibility.
And sometimes just go home. Same thing on corporate meeting. I used to work at Rick Case. When if the meeting was at 8:30, when 8:30 came, the manager would close that door. And if you were on the outside of that door, you might not have had a job. You hope he would just send you home. But most of the times he would just send you home for that Saturday. But you know what you're missing on a Saturday, not being able to sell cars? That was one of our bigger days back then, right? So it's imperative that we be on time. It's imperative that we be on time. You talked about that. So you said that when you played softball, if y'all had a certain time to be there, if somebody walked up, it was embarrassing. So what did the coach do when she saw that individual walking up? In most instances,
they would want us to start without them, one, and then two, you're probably running laps or you're getting punished when it comes to game time.
Yeah. Hey, give me not the next slide. Go to the one. It's down a little bit. The second set that I sent you, the one about effort. Remember, I've got to put it in order, but it says satisfaction. Should be the third from the bottom. It's a yellow slide if you can see it. But it's talking about that's it. So listen, the second thing that requires zero talent. Disco, we vibing tonight, baby. We vibing. But the second thing that requires zero talent is to make an effort. So many people get stuck on start. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Huh? I ain't gonna lie. I'm a victim because I used to talk about. What's up, Steve? Steve said, nice topic. I used to be one that would talk about everything that I wanted to do. I mean, anybody that knows me, I'm one of the biggest dreamers there is, man. I mean, I think big. I think I can make big money. I think I can do big dreams. I mean, Project Rob is still in the back of my head, and those that know my vision as it relates to Project Rob, it's huge. I mean, I think on big terms, right? So But one of the things that I got to make sure that I'm constant with is that I make an effort, right? And a lot of people, they have plans, but they don't really make efforts, right? And so here it is. Satisfaction lies in the effort, not in the attainment. Full effort is full victory. Y'all agree with that? It's so many people, and you talked about this the other day, Trey, you and I had a conversation. It's so many people that make their first million and then give it away and then go back and make the second million. And the second million is so much easier to make than the first million. Why? Because they put forth the effort to make the first one.
The saying is, one of my favorite traders says, the toughest thing to do was make his first 100,000,
Okay.
and he made $1 million 3 months later. Because he knew all he had to do was put in the work times 10,
Mm-hmm.
and there it is. And now
Okay.
it's endless possibilities because all you know is that you got to double your effort, triple your effort, times 10 your effort, but you're going to get what you deserve and what you earned. What
Yeah.
you earned, I was.
And it's a sowing and reaping principle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you plant a certain type of seed, you get that. You get the same effort out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got people that that have a millionaire thought, $1 million dreams, but got like $5,000 work ethic.
Mentality.
Yeah, that's crazy. How does that work? So the satisfaction lies in the effort. We have to learn how to teach our children to put forth the effort. Now, how you put forth effort, and this is, y'all got to hear me on this. The how you put forth effort is relative.
It is. I was going to say that too.
Go ahead.
My effort, you can't tell me what my effort is.
Mm-mm.
You cannot tell me what my effort is because we can talk about Acuna.
Yeah.
Acuna makes a lot of things look.
Ronald Acuna is a baseball player for people that don't know.
Braves.
Go ahead.
Best player on the Braves.
Uh-huh.
He makes things look effortless.
Mm-hmm.
But then you'll have the average baseball fan that'll say, he ain't playing hard enough. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing that. But in reality, that's his effort. That's his level.
That's it. And everybody learns. I mean, and effort is different. Like, for instance, and I, some people want to put lids and caps and try to put these leashes on our children and all these things. Trey learned one way. Kennedy learns one way. My daughter Mackenzie learns a whole different way. And we've never been one to make them sit at the table and do their homework. Kennedy sits on the couch with a book in her lap, the dog sitting beside her leg, and the TV on, and reads, and graduated from college with a 4.3 GPA, went on to school to University of Georgia on the Zell Miller Scholarship, which is the highest scholarship you can get in the state of Georgia, and is maintaining a 3.94 now. But she sat on the couch with a book in her lap, the TV on, and the dog sitting beside her leg. Now, I could have been one of those micromanaging parents that said, put the dog in the cage, or turn the TV off, or whatever. I feel it, though, because I'm a type person that I can't read in quiet.
I can't do nothing if I got something going on.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing.
I'm the type, I need a certain degree of chaos. I learn better in chaos, if it makes sense. I can turn on the TV, I can have music going on, and now I'm reading because I kind of need that rhythm to kind of help me focus right here, right? So that means everybody learns differently. But because this is the mistake parents that we make, and I'm not trying to tell people how to raise their kids, but the mistake that a lot of us make is that we did it our way, and because we did it our way, we don't understand that they're learning a whole different way. And since they're learning a different way, because we don't understand it, we're afraid of it. So we try to cage it. Oh, that's good. We try to contain it. We try to control it simply because we can't understand it. I can't do the math these kids doing. Last semester, Mackenzie was struggling with physics, man. I mean, crying, all kind of stuff, struggling with it. And I knew I couldn't do it, but I know what I can do. I Googled help. I Googled for a tutor, and I found this good old app. And when I found this good app, I found somebody I could pay $25 or $30 an hour that would sit down with her and help her understand. And guess what? She got to be. So part of parenting is being creative. I knew she was putting forth a little effort, so I had to put forth some effort as well to get her through that grade. I couldn't have an F on a transcript. Can't have a D on a transcript. She's a 4.2 student. So, I mean, and she's struggling. She's trying. We're in COVID. So we had to do things differently, right? We got to make an effort. We got to make an effort. And when people do make an effort, as some of us that are able to help them, we got to be able to push them to the next level, right? I discovered that I remember, Trey, and when we lived in Powder Springs, you were 3 years old, and I was throwing you a little plastic baseball, and you had a plastic bat, and you hit the ball about 2 yards. And this old white lady said, sign that boy up for the major leagues. And so I went and signed you up for baseball. And you got pretty good at it. You played football 1 year. And then you I don't know if you liked it or not. We never said. But the next year you came to me at 8 years old and said, Dad, I don't want to play football this year. I want to play fall ball to get ready for kid pitch. Because we were moving from coach pitch to kid pitch. In order for you to get better, you had to see it sooner. And you had to put forth an effort, right? And so and I promise you, how old are you?
22.
In 22 years, and you've been playing baseball since you were 4, did you ever strike out?
Yeah.
Huh?
I struck out.
How many times?
Strike out?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Too many to count, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you struck out sometimes. You been injured sometimes. You've hit the ball in play. You've got some putouts. Your batting average over all the years of 14 years of baseball, if you did good enough to go 280 to 300, you did pretty good, right? Because it requires some failures to go along with some successes. But the failures or successes both would have been obsolete if you didn't put forth any effort. Right? So that's where we are. That's where we are. So 10 things that require absolutely zero talent. First of all is being on time. Second of all, making an effort. But the third thing, we got to have a positive attitude. Somebody type that in the comments. Somebody say we got to have a positive attitude. Somebody type that in the comments, please. Got to have a positive attitude. There is nothing worse than stinking thinking. One small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. I'm gonna move to the next slide. In the next slide, just 1 second. But I want to say this. I had a friend call me about 4 o'clock in the morning the other day because they were going through something, right? And I didn't answer the phone, first of all, because I was half sleeping. I just didn't feel like talking. So anyway, when I finally talked to this individual, they said, James, I need to talk to you. And so they went through on this whole spiel about some bad things going on in their family and their brother and father and all these people fighting and all this kind of stuff. And they were calling me for advice and all this kind of stuff. So really what they were basically doing was backing up a dump truck to me in my life at 4 o'clock in the morning. Right? They want to give me all of their mess, all their manure, all of that I ain't gonna say it. They're going to give me all of this at 4 o'clock in the morning, make it heavier on me, right? And I'm like, for real? I said, we're that comfortable? Well, you want to call me at 4 o'clock in the morning and dump all of this mess on me? And so what happened is that would take away all of my positive thinking. I mean, because when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I do my devotion. I read the script. I read my scripture, do my devotion. Then I read first I read my script. I pray first. I read my morning scripture, and then I do my devotion. That's before I do anything, because those are the things I want on my mind initially, right? But even before, now listen, anybody that's my friend, don't call me before 8 o'clock, for real, because that's my devotion time. I just don't, and I'm stop answering the phone, to be honest with you. That's just really my devotion time. So that person called me at 4 o'clock, want to put that on my mind first thing in the morning. So if I got this negative thought on my mind at 4 o'clock in the morning, how is that going to affect the rest of my day?
That's how you start your day.
That's how I'm starting my day. With a whole bunch of mess, right? Put that next one up for me, D. Let's go. Trey, I called Trey this morning and I asked him for a quote on a positive attitude. Read that, Trey.
The average person, I actually heard this quote and this fact while I was listening to a podcast this morning, actually. It's the average person has about 12,000 to 16,000 thoughts a day. 80% are negative, and 95% of those thoughts are reoccurring.
Isn't that crazy?
We think about the same things over and over.
You need to read that one more time, please. That's crazy. Because I want them to understand this. The average person has how many thoughts?
12,000 to 16,000.
12 to 16,000 thoughts per day. How many of those thoughts are negative? Somebody need to be putting that in the comments. 12 to 16,000 thoughts per day. How many negative? 80% of the thoughts. So what's 80% of 12,000? 9,600. So if you got 12,000 thoughts, 9,600 of those thoughts are negative.
And you already done had 95% of those thoughts.
And 95% of those you've already had, and they keep coming over and over and over and over. I'm gonna testify. I'm putting my hand up first. I mean, because I know I'm just gonna say it. I'm the same. I'm one of those that used to be. Notice what I said. Used to be haunted by my negative thoughts. I can remember times that life was kind of tough for me, and I knew the alarm clock was supposed to go off at 7:00. And I would wake up about 6:30, 6:40, hoping that the alarm clock didn't go off because I just didn't want to face another day. And so with those thoughts, I was inundated. My thoughts were consumed with negative thinking. Some people call it stinking thinking. So if you have stinking thinking, then what that does is it messes you up from having a positive attitude. And if you don't have a positive attitude, there's no way you can even think about getting on the path to better.
I'm big on the law of attraction. I think what you think in your mind, what you go ahead and associate yourself with, is what you attract into your life. You know what I'm saying? Because basically, if you going ahead and saying, well, just another day, well, I guess I'm about to go through this today, then you already setting yourself up for it.
Setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I don't even when people start trying to put their negativity on me, I stop them.
How do you stop them?
I just say ew. I don't want to.
You say ill? You really say ill?
I really say ill.
Okay.
My roommate for sure. She was always negative.
She might be listening to the podcast.
No, I don't think so.
I got a friend. I have a friend that I didn't talk to for years, and at a certain point in life, I had actually put him in under the category of DNA. That means do not answer when he calls my phone, because every time he called, it was negative. And we've been talking more lately, and I've noticed that he started to trend towards that way again. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to put him back on the DNA level, but I just can't let that stuff come in my life.
Life is too short to be that miserable.
Please say that again.
Life is too short to be that miserable.
It is. It is. I know I'm a preacher. I know, and I know I probably shouldn't say this in front of my kids, but I tell people all the time, Discord, and you've heard me say it, my stress level has gone down. I'm talking metaphorically, everybody that knows me. My stress level goes down the more my middle finger goes up. Because there's certain things I just have to forget it. I'm just saying, forget it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because I'm just not going to allow those things to affect my life. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was just about to say, everything you done worried about in the past, you done made it through.
Boy, you almost made me preach. I wish I had hoop triggers. I'd close right there. Everything that you've been through. So in other words, if you broke now, this ain't your first time being broke. If you've been sick before, this probably ain't your first time being sick. If your girlfriend broke your heart and y'all got through it, she might break your heart again. I mean, whatever. Anything that you've been through in life, you've been through it. And that's the key through it. David said, yea, though I walk what? Through the valley of the shadow of death. We so many times we make permanent situations out of temporary problems, man. It's a temporary problem, and you got the nerve to put up a mailbox. Why? You ain't getting no mail there. And the old songwriter Timothy Wright said, trouble don't last always. So if trouble don't last always, why are you making a temporary situation a permanent problem? That's like suicide. They say, I want to make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Why? Yes, ma'am. Okay. You got to raise your hand and talk.
I have a question. Okay,
my baby raised her hand, y'all.
Going back to the slide where Trey said earlier, 12,000 to 16,000 thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know how a lot of the time you were asking me when I was younger, you were like, what are you thinking about? And I'm thinking about nothing. So obviously, yeah. You're not conscious. But yeah, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that you have to be intentional with your time. Because you don't want to sit. You were talking about how you don't want to sit around all day after you're done with your trading. You want to do something else. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just something I want to bring up. That's why you have to be intentional with your time.
You got to be intentional with your time.
So it will contribute to your growth.
Because you have to protect your. You have to protect. Get out. Get some in the corner of your mouth. Yeah. You have to protect your mind. Even in y'all hear me quote scripture sometimes. Even when the Bible talks about putting on the whole armor of God, one of the things it says is to put on the helmet of salvation, and the helmet of salvation protects what? Your head. So metaphorically and symbolically, what it does is it protects your thoughts. There's certain things you should not let your eyes see. For instance, you're watching scary movies and your mind ain't ready for that. That'll mess your whole psyche up. Have you having bad dreams? Have you wondering if people hearing things going bump in the night and all this stuff? And somebody, I remember Aunt Felisa and I, my sister, one time we were living in St. Louis, man, we tricked our minds into believing that somebody was in the house with us, that had broken in our house. Literally, we tricked ourselves into believing that somebody broke in our house. And when they broke in, they were walking around. We done called out. We in another room, whispering to our mama on the phone, telling our mama to call the police and everything because stinking thinking. 80% are negative and 95% are repetitive. I literally saw a man with a trench coat on, with some kind of hat on, and me and Felisa, she's on here, she's laughing, but we were literally afraid because we created this. That's how powerful the human mind is, right? That's how powerful the human mind is. That's why we always have to have positive thinking. Second thing, next thing is we gotta be passionate. Whatever you want to do in life, if you want to be successful at it, you have to be. I like that first one the one you just had up was great. We have to be passionate. John Maxwell says something that I think is so key and critical. He says a great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from what? Passion, not position. Let me say that again. A great leader's courage to fulfill his vision comes from passion, not position. I used to hear successful people say, if you can find something that you would do for free, figure out how to make that pay you and you'll become successful at it. Yeah. Because that way it's never a job. You're going to do something that you love. Y'all agree with that?
I agree.
Okay. Because what are some things you're passionate about that you enjoy doing? Or you have been passionate about over the years?
I like doing stuff for my mom.
Okay.
I like.
Did you cut the yard? I'm just joking. I got your message.
But I like doing stuff for her. I like seeing other people happy around me. And that's what I'm passionate about. I like other people around me happy.
Have you figured out how to make that pay you yet? And that's a rhetorical. That's a rhetorical. Okay, that's a rhetorical question. So that's the path you're on right now. Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to put yourself in a position in life where you're successful enough so you're able to. So now let's unpack where you are. You work right now because you're in school 6:30 to 9. Mm-hmm. You're able to eventually create an income that will be able to sustain you. Mm-hmm. But you're through by what time?
9 o'clock in the morning.
So what does that give you time to do the rest of the day?
What I want.
Whatever you need to do. So if mama needs you to take her to the doctor's office, or you need you to go to the grocery store, or you need to clean up, all those things are done. Why? Because the first thing you've done is, number one, you've created an area of passion. And everything that you're doing things that you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And you put in the equity, the sweat equity, that's reading. That's the candlestick Bible that you memorize. That's mastering and learning everything to know that you would specialize at one thing. Mm-hmm. Let me say that again. Sometimes you have to learn a little bit more about several things to realize that you can specialize in one thing.
And I will say you got to find time that you can set aside that doesn't get in the way of everything else.
Okay.
So nothing wrong with 9 to 5, but if 9 to 5 is getting in the way of other things you got to do, then you might need to reevaluate yourself. Mm-hmm. I got to think I can do from 6:30 to 9, and then I can take care of everything else I need to take care of. Exactly. I had to find a time for me to not get involved with anything else I was doing.
What kind of trader are you?
Quick, in and out, 5 minutes.
But what, inside bar?
I can't even explain it.
You can't. But you found your niche. Okay, because you got different kinds. You got swing traders. You got long
scalpers.
You got scalpers. Mm-hmm. You got all these different type of traders, right? And all these people trade how they trade. And some of them do all of them. Some of them just do one of them. But you, over the last couple of years, have figured out you've tried everything and been successful to some degree in more than one. Mm-hmm. But now you found one. Because there was a time you had to use the fib and draw the charts and all that kind of stuff. Now you don't even have to draw a chart if you don't want to. You can eyeball it and look at it. I mean, you can look at a chart, look at a graph and say, okay, this is where I'm going to trade it right here, right? Mm-hmm. And you work on that. Why? Because you're passionate about it. Mm-hmm. And you learn something. as you went on about those things. Now, here you are. You are second year college. You went to school. You initially wanted to be
Teacher,
teacher,
speech pathologist.
but you said you wanted to make more money, right? And so when you looked at your transcript, and they said you were how much close to a finance degree?
I was a third of the way through the finance degree.
Because you transferred so many classes from high school. Now you've gotten and what you've done so far this year, you're already a third of the way through a finance degree, and so you changed your major. But it's funny how all things work together for the good, because now finance gives you the opportunity to go in so many different directions. You can go in law, you can still be a teacher, you can still do it's so many different things that you can do with that finance degree, but it all stems from the passion, right? And what are you passionate about?
I'm really passionate about pouring into people
Okay.
and watching them grow by following something I said. I like when people listen to me.
Like coaching type.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah. So I like what I'm doing right now. I like working with kids on swimming. Like, that's fun to me.
And this child, I'm not going to, this child could have made a lot more money this summer working with me. I mean, really could have made a lot more than the average household makes, especially for an 18-year-old. But I took her to work with me for a week, and she wasn't passionate about it. That's a good one that you just put up too. She was not passionate about it. So she said, Dad, I don't like it, and I'm not doing it anymore. I mean, I could have paid this girl almost $1,000, 18 years old, $1,000 a week. But she'd rather go take a job making almost minimum wage because she's more passionate about being around children, being around her peers, and helping somebody grow or do better or whatever, right? So the next meme I put up that Disco just put up for me says, follow your own passion, not your parents, not your teachers, follow yours. That's what Robert Ballard says. Follow your own passion, not your parents, not your teachers, yours. As parents and teachers, it's our job to kind of expose you to the right things. Is that the right word? Yeah. To kind of put you in the right environment.
Options.
Yes. To provide options. Provide options. To put you in the right garden to make the right selection.
How many crazy baseball dads have we grown up around, and they didn't even get to college? They didn't even get to college baseball. They was on top of the world getting 3-4 lessons a week. Kids don't even want to go. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm going to try to live through him. Yeah. And then by the time you get 17, you burnt out. I don't even want to do this now.
Ain't that something? I mean, you have people thinking that their kids were going to go pro at 12, 13 years old, skipping grades, doing all kind of things. And the kids look miserable.
Miserable. You see it in their face.
The kids wanted to play with their own friends and wanted to play baseball their own way, but their dads took over. Now, I had somebody come to me when you were about 8 and said, we want to put him on the all-star team, but we're afraid you're going to mess it up for him. How? Because you talk too much. Okay. So I backed up. Did I not? When I realized Trey was good at baseball, y'all, I stopped coaching him, to be honest with you. When I realized he was pretty good at baseball, that's when I stopped coaching. But I put my money together, and I ain't gonna lie, we missed some other bills and some other things trying to make sure he had hidden lessons, making sure he had infield lessons, making sure we took him to the right types of camps, made sure he played travel baseball. It was so many times I was at work, and they were in what was that in South Carolina? Charleston, South Carolina, or Fort Myers, Florida, or Orlando, Florida, and I'm at work trying to make sure he had, like somebody just said, Shantae said, that we have options, that we provide options for. And then Kennedy comes along right behind her, and Kennedy's pretty good at softball, right? And so now we go in 2 different directions. One going to softball games, one going to the baseball games, and all we're trying to do at this point is provide options. Now Trey got the scholarship. He went the JUCO route. Kennedy decided her 12th grade year, she came to us and said, I don't want to play softball no more. I want to play my senior year, just have fun. I'm going to get an academic scholarship anyway. That's what I want to focus on. I'm cool with that. That's fine with me. That's fine. Trey had a season-ending injury. And then after a while, he said, Dad, I'm done. I'm through. My body hurt every day for years. I'm tired. I'm done. You know what I said? All I need to do is hear it out your mouth. Because as long as he didn't tell me that he was done, I was going to encourage him to go back. That's my job as a parent. I was going to encourage him. I can't make you, but I'm going to definitely encourage you, right? But then when I heard it come out of his mouth and he said, Dad, I don't want to do it no more. I'm tired. That was enough for me. I'm out. I can't make you do nothing. Why? Because I don't raise robots. You program robots. And at the end of the day, Trey is grown. I don't mean no harm. I ain't pay a bill his last year of school. And he got every bill paid. He did it. He's gone to school and has become a man. He is a member of Omega Psi Phi. He is carrying a 4.0 GPA. He had paid his own rent and utilities for a whole year. He's doing his own thing. So if I see success, what do I look like messing it up? And guess what? He has something that he's passionate about. So now so parenting for me is no longer parenting. Parenting is just counseling. Bounce it off me. Give me an idea. So now he's telling me he might move. If that's what he want to do, guess what? See you, buddy. We'll holler at you. Guess what? Delta goes north, south, east, and west. We'll see each other when we see each other. Why? I trained him, Disco, so I trust him. If he finds himself in a bad situation, he'll get out of it because he knows how to think. Now, were there some learning lessons in that? Yes. You remember the time you went to Popeyes? And you left your wallet on the...
Oh, man. Yeah, it probably wasn't nothing but $30.
He thought everybody was nice in the world, right? He's naive as he can
my
be.
wallet right on the little table. I didn't think nothing of it. And I'm going back in there thinking, oh yeah, somebody definitely turned it in. Somebody stole $30. But it's crazy because when you're young, that's when you make your mistakes that cost you the least. He
goes to have lunch. He has his tray on the table. Has to use the bathroom, and actually leaves his wallet on the tray. And somebody opportunist was sitting there, waited, and went over there and grabbed it right quick. And he came upset. I said, now, guess what? You got to be aware of your surroundings. That was my lesson for you. I'm done.
It's so funny. Depending on where you are, people are so lax with stuff like that. So when Nick came over one time, we met up one place, and I was like, leave your car right here. We'll come back and get it. Nick said, leave my car right here. Look at where Nick's from.
Yeah.
And then down South Atlanta, it's like, leave my car right here. But we in Cobb County right now.
Yeah.
You Kennesaw, you good.
You can leave
your
car.
What I'm saying? Like, but people just don't know that according to where you are, different things kind of occur. And if I left my wallet in, I don't know, uppity somewhere, uppity, I mean, I probably would have been all right. But I left it in. I went to 260 Popeye. Somebody said, "Let me take this little $30."
And the city has definitely moved to the suburbs. So with that being said, when the city moves to the suburbs, because that kind of stuff usually didn't happen out here. That means a long time ago. But when people want to move back downtown, they got to get rid of the factions that's downtown. So they have to find a way to move the degenerates or those vagrants and all those individuals. You got to figure a way to move those people further out to the suburbs. 15 minutes north, and first perfect place is where? Windy Hill. So now that whole demographic has changed, and because that demographic has changed, you have to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. And that's everything. I tell you all the same thing. I mean, like I told you yesterday, driving down the freeway. If it's a 3-lane freeway, what lane I tell you to be in?
Middle to
you
right.
Be in the middle to the right. Why? Because most exits are on the right side, so you want to be able to maneuver either way quickly, and you can't do that if you're stuck over in the left lane, right? But you got to be thinking ahead, right? So, but back on topic, because we kind of got off topic a little bit. You got to be passionate. You got to be passionate, and with that being passionate, your passion doesn't. Your passion shouldn't. Oh, let me say this: passion can't be perpetuated. Does that make sense? I can't put my passion on you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm passionate about you being a professional baseball player, number one, I can't hit a fastball. I ain't never been able to hit a fastball. I definitely can't hit a curveball. So I can't project all of my passion of wanting to see you play pro that I'm making it miserable for you. I remember I used to make it miserable for you. We used to go to your baseball game, y'all. This is the truth. This is confession night. I got my son and I'll get children here, so I might well have confession. I remember when Trey was like 10, 11 years old, and he and I would drive to the games together. I would be so crunk talking to him, telling him what he needed to do and how he needed to do it. And by the time he gets to the game, he would be so crapped out, he didn't even want to play no more. And so it got to a point where my ex bought him a pair of Beats by Dre's. And I would tell him, put those Beats by Dre's on when we get in the car. Because I didn't want to talk to him and mess him up on the way to the game. And because I would kill it. I mean, I didn't want to do it. So sometimes I'd be riding, he'd be in the back seat, then I'd go to say something, or he'd be in the front seat, and I'd go to say something, and then he couldn't hear me. And I'm like, okay, good. He can't hear me. Okay, good. Because I didn't want to mess him up. I didn't want to, because sometimes we crap our children out by projecting our personal passions on them, and those are things that they're not interested in. Let me say this here. You can only take people as far as you've ever gone.
And some people ain't gone nowhere.
Yeah, and some of y'all ain't never been nowhere. Ain't never been nowhere, but you want people to, but you have the audacity, the temerity, and the unmitigated gall to be trying to create a mini-me. Who are you? Because they can be so much better than you. Do you realize what these children have been exposed to? These children, I mean, this boy has learned how to access tens of thousands of dollars and don't even have to leave his house. He can sit on his laptop, and if he does it right, he can generate thousands of dollars from home and be done by 9 a.m. And some of us going to work for $12, $13, $14, $15 an hour ain't never make more than $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And we want to try to tell him what to do. How? They don't even make sense. The audacity, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to think that I'm his ceiling just because he carries my name don't mean that he has to carry the same numbers that I got. He's on a whole nother trajectory, and I'm cool with that. But he's seen us do some very creative things. He's seen me sell necktie. He's seen me go pay $7.50 for a necktie and sell it for $25. Or he's seen me go sell shirts and ties and suits and all those things. He's never really seen me work a regular job consistently because I'm always trying to figure out how to make more or do something else or take another route or whatever, right? So with those things, he's taken those things, and some of those were good. Some of them might have been negative, but it's trial and error. And so what he does is, because he knows how to think, is he has filtered out the bad, has learned how to accentuate the good and build on those good things. Now, this young lady of mine, she don't say a word, but she's always watching. You got 2 ears and one mouth for what?
Listening, more listening than talking.
How long I've been telling y'all that? So she's been listening twice as much as she's been talking her whole life. And all of a sudden I put her in front of a microphone and all of this wisdom comes out. Or we tell her to write a paper at school or a speech for softball, and all of a sudden all this wisdom comes out. And I'm watching her talk and I'm like, man, you need to be arguing in front of the Supreme Court. Because she's so articulate and she's so smart, and all these things have come out. And then she goes to college as a freshman, gets on a club softball team. They got budgets and they play against other schools and all this thing. Guess what? As a sophomore, they have, and they have already voted her to be the president next year. That's leadership. That's leadership. That's leadership. Trey don't want those types of quiet. Trey trying to ride solo most of the time. He'll do his fraternity thing, but beyond that, he wants to ride solo. Kennedy don't mind getting the clique and lead, and she'll argue, and she'll debate, and she'll do those things, but it has to be substantive. If it's not nothing with substance, she's going to say, I ain't dealing with that. Did I say it right?
You are correct.
Y'all are my children. That's my children. But no, man, this conversation, what? It's almost 10:30 already. This is a good conversation, and I think I've only gotten through about 4 of these things that require zero talent. But I'm going to do one more as we get ready to get out of here tonight, because we only got a few more minutes.
Which one do you want to touch on? I'm looking at them.
I want to touch on being coachable.
Okay.
I want to touch on being coachable.
It's either that one or doing a little extra for me, but go ahead.
Let's do both.
Do both. Okay,
Yeah.
you can do it.
All right, so being coachable, can we have, you got us, Disco?
I ain't got that one.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about you, but you're going to let us talk for half. Being coachable. We ain't going to be long. Being coachable That's one of my biggest problems is being coachable. You know, when you start looking at doing some of the multi-level marketing things and all those things, whenever someone would try to introduce me to whether it was noni juice or what you call it, paycation, whatever, I was never coachable. I would always try to find another way of doing the same thing. But if you want to be successful, if you want to get on the path to better, you got to be coachable. You got to find somebody who's doing what you've done. And I see you nodding your head.
Because you ain't never been where you're trying to go.
Oh, can you say that again?
You have not been where you are trying to go.
I ain't never heard you say you ain't never been. Kennedy ain't never. I talk like that all the time. You corrected yourself. That's why you laugh. You smiling so loud. This child is smiling as loud as you can be. What do you think about that, Trey? Do you have to be coachable?
You definitely have to be coachable.
Have you ever been around people who weren't coachable?
Yeah, I would say so. Even if I can't put myself or my finger on it specifically, I'm sure I've been around people that aren't coachable. They probably don't play no more. And don't have much success. Because there's always somebody that knows more than you.
Okay.
And there's always someone that's been at a higher level than you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whatever success you have, you can get better.
You can definitely get better at it. All right. So you said the other one that you wanted to discuss was what?
Doing a little extra.
Talk about it.
So, I know I always relate to trading.
Okay.
But if you study this much, you can study a little more to set yourself up for success.
Okay.
Because once again, if you want to get to where you think you want to get to, if you see all these people, like we said earlier, driving all these cars, having all these houses, they put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do that times 10 to get where they are. And there's still going to be someone better than you.
Gotcha.
So you got to do whatever a little extra is. Once again, subjective. Do a little extra.
What do you think about that?
There's always more you can do. I think if you're going to start in a certain place, depending on where everybody else is around you, if you start behind, you got to catch up. You got to do a little extra to catch up.
Have y'all ever noticed when you were in school or while you're in school that the teacher used to always provide something called extra credit?
Mm-hmm.
And what did that require?
Extra work.
That required extra work. That required going outside of the parameters of what was normal, because most people are conditioned to do just enough.
Get by.
Just enough to get by.
Just get by.
I'm a master of it. You give me a rubric, you give me a syllabus, and I know what my deadlines are. I promise you, I can make an A in that class, and I can make it by just doing just enough to get by, right? And unfortunately, that's the mentality that a lot of people they take on. Is they take on that mentality of saying that I'm just gonna do just enough. And sometimes enough is good. Enough, you know what, man? Enough can create a very comfortable lifestyle. You know, because some people $60,000 is enough. And if you take $60,000 and you set yourself up on a budget and you got the right amount of rent and you got a car note and you got insurance and your bills are only this much a month and you're able to put this much in the savings a month and you're able to go on vacation once or twice a year and you're able to buy Christmas gifts for your family and you're able to do buy school clothes for your children and you're able to participate in Amazon Prime Day and all these and tax-free savings day, you're able to do all of those things, right? You got all of the gadgets, you got the cell phones, you got the iPhone 12 or which one they on now? Yeah, you got all the iPhones and the Samsung S21s and you got the iPads and the Apple Watch. You got all of the symptoms of success and you're doing that with enough, then you don't feel like you need to do extra. But then you got somebody who says, okay, I got all of those things, but I'm going to retire one day, or I want to go on more vacations, or I don't want to work the rest of my life. So, and not only am I going to work this job, which gives me enough, but I'm going to do something I'm going to work 4 hours extra a day, or I'm going to pick up a trade, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to start doing this, or I'm going to do that. And that's going to be my extra. And because that's my extra, that's going to be the thing that carries me to the path to better. So it's always good to do a little extra while you're on the path to better. And guess what? It takes zero talent. Right? Y'all know what? I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. Disco's about to play my exit music because it's time for us to go. It's already 10:30. We've been on here for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I have enjoyed it. Y'all know what? My babies have been here when they're grown now. Trey has been here. Say bye, Trey. And I had Kennedy with me tonight, and we've had a good conversation about On the Path to Better. I hope y'all enjoyed them because you know what? If they're home this summer, I'm going to use them again. I think I have a plan for next week, and we're going to talk about something different. But I really, really, really appreciate you all for listening in. I see that several people have been on the live. I hope some people were also watching on the YouTube, and I'll have this in my channel on tomorrow. But as I say at the end of every show, remember this: the world is changing. The question is, why do you remain the same? Have a good night, and I'll see y'all next week.